we doing?
Looking for mushrooms.
What are we checking for specifically?
Hen of the woods.
That's right, we're going to check some hen in the woods spots. This is our first one. And we got one growing right there under this big vine. But I want it to get a little bigger, so we're going to come back and check it in a few days. Okay, we're at stop number 2, checking some hen spots. Check it out. Got 1, 2. Nice young fresh ones. They are about that size compared to my hand. We're not going to pick them yet. We're going to come back in a couple days. But check it out over here. Got another one. And if I lean around here, another one right there in that nook. So I got 4 hens around this tree. 1 at the other one. We'll come back in 3 or 4 days and see how they're doing. I know the light's bad because it's getting dark. I'm checking a new area that I've never found hens at before. Found this small one. And I just found another lighter colored one. A little bigger. Even though they're a little on the small side, I'm going to take them because I don't know if I'm going to be coming back to this area within the next week or 2. I'm back at the spot that had the one growing by this vine here, and it's about 4 days later. It doesn't look like it's gotten much bigger. Still feels nice and firm though. I'm going to go ahead and take this one. Maybe tomorrow I'll go back and visit that other location. Alright, now we're talking. I'm back to the tree that has 4 around it. 1 week later from the last time I was here. And they're a nice size now. These 2 are. Very fresh still, very nice and firm. Now on this side of the tree, this darker one, still a little bit on the small side, but still very fresh. And here on this side of the tree, this one also still a little on the small side. So I think I'm going to take the 2 larger ones over there and leave these other 2 for a few more days at least, see if they get bigger. And now we're back for the other 2. About 6 days later. Here's that one. I think it's probably about as good as it's going to get. And that one down there. We'll pull them out. There's also, looks like a little one trying to come up right there. Here's my little helper.
Hello.
It's funny how much darker that one is than that one.
These are hen of the woods.
Yeah. I figured I'd give you a quick rundown on what I'm doing with some of the hen this year. I've done this in the past and it turned out really good. Now we've already eaten quite a bit this year, but we're still bringing it in, so what I'm going to do is make some jerky. Some hen of the woods jerky. Of course, just like when you cook it, the first step is to get it cut up, broken apart. You can do it just by kind of breaking it into appropriately sized pieces, or cutting it, however you want to do it. I'm just kind of doing the cleanest parts right now of it. Of course, the parts in the bottom, you have to spend a little more time cutting the dirt and the leaves off, scraping it off, or cutting away the pieces that have dirt embedded in it. Just to get an idea of the size of some of the pieces that I'm doing here for jerky. These will shrink down when you dehydrate them. I'm going to show you how I marinate them and then dehydrate them. But they will shrink down, so a piece this size will shrink down probably about half the size, maybe even less. But yeah, step number 1, get it broken apart into the size pieces that you want to use, and make sure they are clean. Now I prefer not to clean them with water if possible. I try to just pick everything off with a knife. That's just the way I like to do it. Some people soak them or whatever, but particularly for The jerky, I'm not going to do that. So once you've got the pieces into the sizes that you want them, next thing you want to do is boil them for 10 minutes. I've already done that, so we'll spare you that. But while they're still hot, after boiling them, you put them directly into your marinade. Now, there are several recipes for marinades that you can make, a marinating liquid, online. You could, I'm sure, just buy a pre-made marinade to use as well, but I usually make my own. And I generally just kind of wing it. There are, like I said, there are some recipes online. I basically got this this formula from a website called The Three Foragers. But as far as the ingredients that they have for the marinade, I kind of just use my own and wing it. So basically, I have 4 different types of vinegar in here. I have some white vinegar, some red wine vinegar, some apple cider vinegar, and some balsamic vinegar. That's what the bulk of the liquid is. I also put in some liquid aminos, which is basically an organic, all-natural substitute for soy sauce. It tastes pretty much the same. A lot better for you. Put that in there. I put some Frank's Red Hot to give it a little bit of spiciness to it, not too much. I'll probably do a batch where I put a lot more in it just for me, because I do like it more spicy. Then I've got some black pepper and some garlic just sprinkled in there, and some maple syrup as well to give it a little bit of sweetness. So that's basically what I did with this batch. Kind of just winged it on the quantities, kept tasting it to see what I thought, and yeah, you can't go wrong. Just find something you like. So then you want to let it marinate. They say for 4 to 6 hours. I'm actually going to let it marinate overnight. They say to put it in the fridge. Our fridge just happens to be pretty full right now, so because it's late fall and it's getting down to the low 50s, upper 40s at night, I'm just going to cover these and put them out in the garage for the night. And then tomorrow we'll move on to the next step of dehydrating them. Alright, I've got the first batch ready to dehydrate. I marinated it overnight, so I've got several trays here. And we're going to dehydrate them, and I'm going to get the next batch marinating. So I'm getting the next round going. Got water boiling, I'm about to put some more of that in. And some of it I'm marinating in the same marinade. I decided to try to spice it up a little with another batch, and I dumped a bunch of Red Hot in with the marinade that I have, so we'll see how that one turns out. Okay, I'm on round 3. The last of the hen that I got. This tray here is another batch marinated in the hot sauce. I really liked how that turned out. Almost like a buffalo wing. What I'm trying this time, along with it, I'm just trying to do some there's some chicken of the woods as well, which is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a totally different mushroom. And this is just some leftover that we had. It's already been cooked. We just had it in the fridge, but I figured I'd try marinating it along with the hen and just dehydrate it out and see what happens to it. Here are some samples of what it turned out looking like. Like I said, they dehydrate way down. These would be the normal, regular marinade that I did. This is the spicier version with the Red Hot, a little more orange in color. Here are some that I just kind of threw some extra pepper on before throwing in the dehydrator. Gives a little more of a peppery taste. So they all turned out great. I love them. This chicken of the woods that I did, however, didn't turn out so great. The textures, I mean, this kind of crumble when you put them in your mouth. They're not leathery at all, really. So it may have to do with the fact that we had cooked them. We actually sautéed them a few days earlier, several days earlier actually, and maybe if I just had done the boiling thing like I did with the hen when they were fresh, maybe they would have turned out different. I'm not sure. Alright, so here's the real test. Tell me what you think of the hen jerky. You like it?
Yeah.
Alright.
It's a little bit spicy, but it's really good.
Well, this is not the spicy batch. I actually really like the spicy batch. I've given quite a bit of it away, samples, to people just because I wanted people's input, and everyone I give it to absolutely loved it. Had one friend say it was a little bit salty, but he's pretty picky, although he doesn't like me to say that. But I didn't add any salt, so it was probably just the liquid aminos he was tasting. Everyone else just absolutely loves it, so it is a hit. And I had someone ask me what the shelf life is after it's turned into jerky, if you can store it long term. And I basically said I have no idea, because it never lasts that long. I end up giving it away to too many people, and then whatever we have left we just eat too fast. But just a couple other notes that I forgot to mention as I was making this. One was when I dehydrate, I've found that about 8 hours or so is the length. But I basically just keep checking it, and when I feel like it's gotten to the right leathery texture, yeah, it's really just kind of like beef jerky. The texture of it, it's kind of hard, but you can still bend it. It's leathery. So I found that it's somewhere around 8 hours. I usually just turn it on at night and then turn it back off in the morning if I think it's ready. The other thing I wanted to make note of in the beginning, and I forgot, when we were harvesting the hen, the first time I visited the spot, and the hens were probably just a little bit bigger than my hand, to the time that we harvested them was about 2 weeks. So a lot of people wonder how long can you let them grow. Well, if they're not quite big enough, they can actually grow for probably 2 to 3 weeks before they start getting a little old and going bad, probably just depending on the weather. So you might want to check a little more often. I just checked a week later after the first time, and then I went back a week later after that, and that's when they were ready for harvest. So just to give you an idea. Anyway, something I love to do with them. I hope you try it. If anybody gives it a try, just let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.